The main roadblock that comes in this exam is the perception that is built around this exam, that the rate of success is less than 1% and that you have to study a lot and then there are so many subjects and all. So that mindset which you have to overcome.
As to what were your habits on a day-to-day basis that you followed that shaped into who you are today?
So, the most important thing for me was the syllabus, and I used to fix my targets on daily basis, and I used to make sure that my targets are completed.
Hello everyone, I welcome you all for another podcast of the series Unlock the Officer with a New, where we take you from confusion to clarity in the UPSC preparation. So rather than giving generic advice, we go into specifics of what worked and what did not work with our students who had taken mentorship in the earlier past. Today we have with us one of our students of the earlier years, Nishanth Gupta. So Nishanth, I welcome you to this podcast.
Thank you, sir.
So here we're going to be discussing with Nishanth on each of the stage of this exam and what worked for him and what did not work out and what is the mindset that's needed, right? So Nishanth, I welcome you to this particular podcast.
Thank you, sir.
So congratulations again for your success in this attempt. So Nishanth, when it comes to this exam, so you are on the other side of the journey, but at the beginning you had certain roadblocks that stood in front of you, right? Could you please share with the audience what were those roadblocks that you had in front of you that you overcame because of which you are here today?
Sir, I think the main roadblock that comes in this exam is the perception that is built around this exam, that the rate of success is less than 1% and that you have to study a lot and then there are so many subjects and all. So that mindset which you have to overcome, and then you have to generate your self-belief. I think that is the most important thing in this exam, that you, from the day one, the first day that you are picking up your book, you have to have belief that you are here to clear the exam. That is the most important thing, sir.
So here, a point that everyone should observe here is the way you treat the exam will be the way the exam treats you back. So don't see it as a very huge exam, but just see it as another exam and plan according to the exam requirements. Perfectly said, Nishanth. So in this regard, Nishanth, coming to the first part of this exam, that is about building the knowledge base. So here it is said that all the questions can be answered by a well-knowledgeable person, but they don't define what is knowledge. So could we break it down to the audience as to how you prepared your notes, and whatever notes you have prepared, how you linked it with PYQs and updated the notes from that? Could you please throw a little light on that?
So as far as notes making is concerned, so I think notes have to be a bit integrated also, but there have to be certain differentiable factors when it comes to prelims, mains and interviews, sir. For prelims, I think the main source for which you have to say like what is knowledge, for that the best source is the PYQ, sir. So for any topic, so suppose I'm studying inflation, so I can study inflation from NCRTs, or I can study that from any static book or from any XYZ source, but my satisfaction will come when after studying from my resource, I'm going to the PYQs of that topic of inflation, and if I'm able to solve those questions, I think my source is right and my knowledge is right and my notes are right. So that is how I approach the prelims, sir. As far as mains notes making is concerned, sir, like we discussed before also, like you helped me through that. In that sense, you told me that we have to make subject specific and topic specific notes, sir. That is what I followed and that is what I tried to bring in my preparation, sir. And as far as interview is concerned, sir, in an interview, my most important focus was on my DAF, because most of the questions are based on that, and whatever little keywords were there in my DAF, I tried to focus on them, sir.
Perfect. So as Nishanth rightly mentioned, the note making, the tempo differs based upon each of the stage of the exam. I hope all of you could observe how the previous year questions play a very important role in shaping the notes that you have made. Perfect. Very good, Nishanth. So in this regard, Nishanth, when it comes to the first stage of the exam, which is prelims, so here one of another differentiator factor in this exam is about the current affairs. So I always say in the book, UPSC is not difficult, it is different. If you don't get the difference, it becomes very difficult. So, and the difference here is about the entire syllabus shaping itself based on what's in current affairs. But when the students think of current affair, what they think of is just the newspaper. So according to you, what is current affairs for UPSC and how should one make notes of that according to you, Nishanth?
So when I started my preparation, I also had the same doubt as to that the entire gamut of current affairs is very large. And I would like to thank the National IAS Academy and you, sir, who helped me through this. So in that also, sir, I think my main focus was that the current issues that are important. So suppose, sir, if governor is the topic that is going on in the news, but sir, the questions that will not come directly from what is happening around the governor. The questions will come from the static part of the topic. So if there is any news that is going on, so suppose if there is any polity issue that is going on, or so suppose the issue of India Maldives is going on. So the questions will not be if our soldiers are coming back or not, but the questions will be around the geography or the map part of that. So that is how you have to approach the current affairs, sir. You have to study it holistically, and any part of it that is coming, you have to go and revise your static notes of that topic. That will help you, sir.
You have broken a very amazing myth about this exam, Nishanth. To break it down to the audience, what Nishanth means to say is that the questions don't come from current affairs directly, rather they come on the concept which is there in current affair. So I want everyone to understand that the questions is not in current affair, rather it's in the concepts. So that necessitates you to link the concept to the current affairs. Thank you, Nishanth, for sharing that. So here it's always said that, Nishanth, as we also discussed, that it is UPSC success in this exam is 30% knowledge, 70% skill, practice and presentation. So can we break down to the audience, what is that skill that is needed in each of the stages of the exam? Coming to the first stage, which is prelims. So according to you, what is that skill that one needs to build apart from the knowledge to be able to ace the prelim stage?
So I think prelims is not an exam of writing. Prelims is an exam of elimination. So there will be, if we take 100 questions and on average 4 options of each question, there will be 400 options in front of us. And we have to identify which one is right and which one is wrong. So when you are identifying something to eliminate, sir, the knowledge only has a particular part to play in that. But most important is the practice. So for prelims, question specific practice becomes very important. When it comes to mains, we have to write holistically long answers, and there is such a wide syllabus of it that the practicing part becomes very important. So for mains, sir, if you have consolidated, even if you have a very good content and if you're not able to present it well, you will not get marks. But if you have average content and if you're able to present it well, you'll get good marks. So that will come only when you are writing in the mains, sir. And for interview, sir, I think both the part becomes very important. Your presentation, your personality, because personality is something that you cannot develop in weeks or 2 months or 3 months. It is a lifelong process. So that is something you have to work upon. And besides that, sir, as I said, sir, the topic specific notes of your DAF, that is very important, sir.
Understood. So to highlight upon a specific thing that you mentioned about mains. So here it is about expression of your writing that really matters. So in your opinion, Nishanth, what should a student do, or what did you do differently that made you build better expression in your answers when you're writing? Is it just the notes that you made that helped you, or anything more than that? Could you mention that? Yeah.
Sir, I think when it comes to mains answer writing, sir, there is a lot of misguidance in the market that you have to start writing from the day one and your content is not ready and you still start writing. I think in that, sir, and you also played a very big part in that, sir, because I was also making the kind of same mistakes in the beginning. But from that, what I realized was that, sir, first, when you have the right amount of content that you have gathered, after that, sir, the first stage should be picking up the mains PYQ, which have come on that issues. So suppose, sir, if I've studied the climate of the monsoon, so if any questions have come on monsoon from whatever content I have, like we discussed before also, sir, those questions should be practiced and those questions should be showed to your mentor. And the right pathway, if your intro is a bit long, or if you're not including diagrams in your answer, or if your conclusion is not up to the mark, those feedback should be taken in and continuous practice should be done as far as mains is concerned.
Wonderful, Nishanth. I'm very glad that you applied the feedback that was given to improve upon it. So students, to help you understand here, it's a skill where you build by practicing and taking the feedback from the mentor where you constantly build upon. As we casually say in this book, that UPSC is like a habit. So just like how you play a guitar, you don't play the guitar on the day one, right? Similarly, when it comes to answer writing, it's about you building the habit in a step-by-step process by taking the feedback. Amazing, Nishanth. I'm very glad you did that. So coming to the last part of the interview, Nishanth, as you rightly mentioned, another point is that you don't build a personality just by attending 1 or 2 mocks. Rather, it's a personality that you carry throughout the journey. So that brings to this point that I've mentioned in the book on a person does not become an officer after they clear the exam. Rather, when they build the officer qualities within them, they automatically become an officer. So in this regard, you are a true example of that. Could you please break it down for the audience as to what were your habits on a day-to-day basis that you followed that shaped into who you are today?
So The most important thing for me was the syllabus, and I used to fix my targets on daily basis, and I used to make sure that my targets are completed. So once I started my preparation, sir, there was the exam would be happen around 11 or 12 months after. But for me, the most important thing was what is my target for today. So that is how I used to break it down, and that is how I used to plan, sir. And for me, if I'm not completing my target of that day, that was failure. And if I'm completing my target of the day, that was my success. So that is how, sir, the journey is very big, but if you break it down to pieces and bit by bit, if you reach there, you will definitely reach there, sir. That is what worked for me, sir.
To add on to one more thing here, when it comes to the UPSC journey, the pathway is not straight. Rather, it has its ups and downs, right? So in this regard, the mental health in the background plays a lot of role. Yes. Did you also have lows, Nishanth, or you had a very stable journey? Could you be raw and real to help the audience? What was your lows and highs in this journey? Yeah.
Sir, the biggest low was I wasn't able to clear my mains in my first attempt, sir. I missed by 17 marks, and I was expecting to clear my mains. But at that time point, sir, I think I would really like to thank you, sir, the way you helped me, the way you picked me up, and the way you motivated me that this is the time where I should focus again on my mains. I should work on my strengths and get back at it with full strength, sir. And because of that only, sir, I'm able to clear this time. Sir.
So here, a point that everyone needs to observe here is, when any of the stages are not met, always remember that UPSC is a cycle and the cycle has to continue. So if you tend to go back to the first stage again, just because you did not clear your prelims or your mains, you won't tend to build upon the next cycle effectively. So always work on your mains effectively, and I always advise all the students to complete one complete cycle in the go so that you are exposed to all the stages. Nishanth, I'm very glad that you took our advice in this regard. Okay. So here I would like to ask you a few questions as a rapid fire, Nishanth. So let's see your opinion on that. So what is that one productive tool you recommend for UPSC aspirants, Nishanth, that you were using?
PYQs.
The PYQs are itself the tools. Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
So to build upon what Nishanth said, always treat UPSC as a game where your opponent is the examiner.
Very true, sir.
And your job is not about how much you read, rather it is about how well you understood your opponent. Do you agree with that, Nishanth?
Yes.
Absolutely. Nishanth has wonderfully done that, right? And what is the best piece of advice you ever received, Nishanth?
Sir, I would say that advice was from you only, sir. The way you said that you should never break down and you should carry on. This exam is a cycle. And once you have reached your preparation to a particular level, all you need is one good year. And that year will come if you continue in the cycle, sir.
Wonderful. So Nishanth, so the advice here is follow the cycle, be in the process and focus on the effort and not on the outcome. And you will get the outcome. Wonderful. Yeah. So if you had a chance to have a dinner with one historical figure, whom would you like to have it with, Nishanth?
Probably Ashok, sir. Ashoka, because he had the largest empire of India, the largest empire India ever had. So why not with him?
Okay. Why exactly Ashoka?
So like I said, sir, like India never had a bigger empire, a bigger territorial empire besides him, sir. He was the one who had the biggest empire ever of this great country, sir. So it would be a wonderful privilege if I get a chance to have a dinner with him, sir.
Great, Nishanth. And lastly, one last myth. There's a lot of students have a lot of question in this regard, is that when it comes to a mentorship and a UPSC coaching, Nishanth, can you be raw and real with respect to here as to where does mentorship play a role and where did our mentorship play a role for you? Could you please break it down?
Sir, as you rightly pointed out, sir, there is a lot of misguidance available and there is a lot of misinformation that is available. So to get the right guidance is very important as far as this exam is concerned, sir. And I think for that, sir, the National IAS Institute helped me a lot in the sense that it helped me refine my resources when it comes to the prelims and mains part. And besides that, the most important part of this exam is to continue in the process and to persevere and to be there for 365 days for 7-8 hours. And I think that is where the motivation is really required. And that is the most important part where the institute helped me, sir.
Absolutely, Nishanth. Thank you so much for that. To break down Nishanth's words, it is 3 reasons why a mentorship plays a role. As Nishanth mentioned, it's about productivity. When Nishanth could not crack his second attempt, the hacks that were told, he received it. See, remember that teachers are like tools, where the role of a tool is not to do anything, but the role of a student is to take the tool and utilize it. And Nishanth rightly did that. And the second thing is accountability. Sometimes your success can come in your first attempt or in your second attempt. It's a long journey. So the second role that was played with respect to having an accountable partner so that Nishanth was right on the right path without deflecting away from the goal. That made him get the success. And the third thing is, always remember, it's difficult to run the long road alone. So when you have a community around you, you tend to learn from each other and grow. And I hope, Nishanth, that our community helped you achieve the goal.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sir,
Thank you, Nishanth, for making time on this podcast to share
you,
our audience what it means to unlock the officer within you. I wish you all the best for your game.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.